Harry Sisson is a Democrat who is a bit more of the establishment type than I am, but we do have a couple real good clips of him going on Piers Morgan and just tearing up Dave Rubin, which always makes for a good watch, and Crystal from Breaking Points was on there as well. So I want to look over a few of these and just jump in where the context is needed.
Look, President Biden should be the nominee. I wonder where Dave got his MD, where he got his degree to specialize in neurology. And I just find it funny how he's saying, oh, we shouldn't respect Biden and Karine Jean-Pierre, but I'm sure that he's voting for the convicted felon and the proven sexual abuser who defamed his victim, and he gives his respect to him every single day. But
hey, Harry, do you think that Joe Biden is cognitively able to be president? Yes or no?
Yes, I do. You can check out the neurology report he had earlier this year in February, where there said there was no concern, no cognitive disorder. That's coming from an actual doctor, actual neurologist.
We're all making this up. Everything we see every day, the inability to say one complete sentence. We're all making it up.
I don't know. Watch his speeches. You should watch his speech he gave in Philly the other day at the church. It was fabulous.
Yeah, I think this is the best point that you could make. Not only are these people literally disgracing an actual mental disorder and those who actually have it by acting like it's something to laugh at and poke fun of and just tell people you don't like who are old that they have it, which is kind of sickening in and of itself, but none of them also know what they're talking about. They're not speaking from a place of authority. They're just overtaken by groupthink, where if enough people say it and because enough people think it, they believe that, oh, well, I have to be right. You can go to any Biden video on my channel. We have a plethora of them, and he's speaking just fine in most of them. Does he stutter sometimes? Yes. Did he look bad in the debate? Yeah, he did. But since then, he's done speeches every single day, 2 different sit-down unscripted interviews, and was fine speaking in each of them. So the thought that, oh, he can't say one sentence is a farce. And as Harry said, a report from an actual neurologist says that we have nothing to worry about in terms of his cognitive ability. But yeah, random podcasters and MAGA voters know better than a doctor. I'm sure about that, right? And then we're also supposed to believe that it's us in a cult, that it's us who shouldn't be respecting the guy with the long list of presidential achievements while they staunchly support the rapist and felon. And that's okay.
I don't know why we're talking about Biden's mental state when we can just look at his record, right? Well, let's focus on the policy, the results, and not just like, oh, you know, Joe Biden looks weird in this one clip. 15 million jobs, historic investment in infrastructure, the largest since Eisenhower, expanding veterans' health care, capping insulin at $35 a month. The list goes on. Donald Trump couldn't dream of doing these things. So for me, as a young voter, I'm looking at who's going to get the job done, who's going to make the country better, and that's Joe Biden. Donald Trump has no policy to run on, and you know his defenders will go around saying, oh, the felonies don't matter, oh, the sexual abuse doesn't matter, oh, the business fraud doesn't matter, but then they have no policy to even justify voting for that guy.
Harry, you're going to still be here when Joe Biden is long gone. So running cover for a guy that clearly is not capable for the job is not a long-term strategy for your career. That's just a little career advice for you. But in terms of the policies, look, I am not a Democrat.
For a sexual abuser is Dave?
Yeah, is Dave Rubin trying to say that running cover for the sexual abuser, the felon, is a good career strategy? If there's one thing I know for sure, taking career advice from Dave Rubin is never a good thing. Biden has a child tax credit that cut child poverty in half. He has record investment into climate change. He has record investment into Black colleges. He expanded Medicare to reach over 3 million new seniors. He cut medicine prices by 70%. He's pardoned thousands of disproportionately sentenced African Americans every year of his presidency. The first gun legislation in a decade, bringing semiconductor manufacturing back to America, tax credits for business that buy their products in America, strengthening our EV market, doubling the amount of EV chargers, just to name a couple achievements that Harry did not mention himself, while Trump passed one tax cut that disproportionately went to billionaires, sent us way farther in debt in our deficit spending than Biden ever has, never outperformed Obama in any metric but the stock market, which, by the way, Biden has now outperformed Trump in the stock market. And he went on to have record 15% unemployment and lose American jobs for the first time in 6 decades.
Listen, I personally have a moral red line when it comes to genocide, okay? Call me crazy, but I do have a litmus test on that.
There's no genocide,
and then when Donald Trump is targeting journalists,
it also becomes a lot more clear why his policy, for example, in Israel has been such a failure, why he's gotten repeatedly run over by Netanyahu, has just continued to supply weapons in spite of what is a clear genocide at this point. The failures are here and now. Sorry,
the pressure will come to bear.
Just a little
the machine,
thing I've got.
There is no genocide. Get over it. Okay.
They killed
the
8%
machine
of
and
the
the pressure will
population in
become
Gaza.
too big
There
to
is very
bear,
much a
and
genocide.
they will.
I had to throw these clips in because it's just horrendous that Dave Rubin is also doing genocide denial, and saying get over it to 8% of a population being slaughtered is just disgusting. So there's a few numbers I want to show, but first, the Genocide Convention, which by the way Israel is in, defines genocide by 5 measures where if any of the acts are committed with the intent to destroy in whole or just in part a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group, it's being met. With the 5 being killing members of the group. There's almost 40,000 dead confirmed in Gaza, and we'll get back to this number in a second. Second is causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group. Not only are babies being beheaded, limbs being blown off, but even before this conflict, over half of the kids in Gaza had PTSD from past Israeli bombings and killings, and now that number has shot up far greater. Third is deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life that are calculated to bring physical destruction in whole or in part. Israel withholds much needed aid from coming in for extended periods of time. They've destroyed all of their hospitals. We talked to Dr. Tarek Lubani, who's been on the ground and says there's not one functioning hospital left in Gaza. 40% of crops and 70% of livestock have been destroyed, and famine is ravaging the population currently as we speak. Fourth is imposing measures intended to prevent births. Again, I go back to every single hospital being destroyed. Pain medicine, needed medicine isn't being allowed in, and nowhere is currently safe for birth, wherein everywhere is being bombed. Fifth is forcibly transferring children from one group to another. They've been moving Palestinians from location to location, bombing them in safe zones, bombing the locations they tell them to go to, and it's getting pretty close to the point of them forcing other nations to absolve them. So as you can see, Israel clearly, easily clears 4 out of 5 of the acts, if not all 5, with clear intent. They've stated it multiple times as well, where only one needs clear to constitute genocide. Also, about the number we spoke about in terms of dead Palestinians, a Lancet study came out recently that shows the death toll is probably very likely closer to 186,000 if you count those who have been lost under the rubble for 9 months that are most definitely dead, if we're being honest. They just can't be confirmed. And if you count the indirect deaths from the conditions imposed by Israel, sickness that would be otherwise curable if it wasn't for the conditions of destroying hospitals, keeping them from being able to get the medicines and supplies that they need to treat them, deaths to famine, etc. The likely number is a lot closer to 186,000, not the 40,000, which only represents those in which they can confirm. If you enjoyed this video, we're Social Society. We're a commentary channel influenced by politics, society, and the economy. We are pretty left-leaning on this channel, but we're open to our right-wingers as well. The biggest thing here is having conversations that get everyone to the bottom of the truth. If that sounds like something that could interest you, consider smashing that subscribe button, leaving us a like, or even commenting on this video. We even have memberships available as low as $3 if you'd like to support, because the only way we become a society is together.